Hi and welcome back to Broadsheet Melbourne Around Town. I'm Broadsheet's editorial director Katja Vakdal and the host of this brief guide to Melbourne. If this is your first time here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss a video. Broadsheet has a long-running series about the dishes we literally cannot stop thinking about. This year we've already spoken to guests on the podcast who couldn't stop thinking about Gimlet's cheeseburger and a Thai dish called Pad Krapao. And today our latest instalment of the series takes us to a pub in Carlton, where Nick Connellan from Broadsheet discovered his latest food obsession. Welcome, Nick.
Hello.
Set the scene for us on the night of this food discovery.
I was on the tram with a mate going to a gig at Cherry Bar. It's absolutely bucketing down. We're both idiots. We didn't have jackets. We didn't have umbrellas. I was slightly less idiotic. I'd eaten dinner. He hadn't. And he was like, I really want to go to the Curtin Hotel, to Sonny's, this place that does fried chicken. I knew about Sonny's. There was another Broadsheet editor who'd been telling me about it for years and years. And I kind of had it filed in the back of my brain as like, need to try this out. So we kind of get off the tram. We're running, it was like 4 or 5 blocks in this pissing rain, sheltering under the eaves and kind of like wiping our faces off ineffectually. It was a mess. Anyway, so we get into the Curtin and we're kind of like, when you get out of the rain, get a couple of beers. I'm like sitting there kind of, like, can't believe I got talked into this. And so he gets his chicken and he's kind of literally rubbing his hands together like.
He orders a 4-piece tray, right?
4-piece tray, yeah. And he, he's had it before, so he's feeling really happy with himself. And he's like, do you want a piece? And I was like, yeah, like I'm here. I may as well try some. And I've kind of bitten into this chicken and like the whole trajectory of the night just changed. It was like my whole mood of like being this grump of, having to run through the rain and stuff. And all of a sudden I was so happy that I was there. I was like, why didn't I make this trip before? I would have run through the rain again. It was just mind-blowing.
Describe the chicken. Why is it so good? What does it look like? What does it taste like?
Perfectly salted, which is, seasoning is so much of good food, I think. It's really well seasoned because they brine it the night before or for 24 hours in buttermilk. And then it's pressure fried, which is different from deep frying. And there's actually not many places that I know of in Melbourne that have pressure fryers. Juanita Peaches in Brunswick has a pressure fryer and their chicken is also amazing. I would say it's on a kind of similar level or the same level. But yeah, it tastes like someone else described it as like KFC, but the best version of KFC, where it's like, it's got those spices going on. It's just really well cooked all over. There's no saggy or floppy bits. That is one thing about KFC. Sometimes the skin kind of has that thing where it kind of lifts off and it's a bit soggy. Yeah, this doesn't have any of that. It's all perfectly adhered. It's all crunchy and crisp all over. There's no dry bits. There's no soggy bits. It's kind of perfect.
You described the fried exterior as a burnt caramel.
That's the color. Yeah. I was trying to reach for an evocative color, but that's what it is. It's like that beautiful color where you just look at it and you're like, oh yeah, that's a good Maillard reaction.
So the chef's been doing this for quite a while. This isn't some dish that he's thought of overnight. Tell us about the chef and I guess how Sonny's ended up at Curtin's and why this chicken's on the menu.
I think it's probably better to tell you about the owner. So Ben Russell's run the Curtin Hotel for a number of years now and has traveled in the US a lot and got really into fried chicken when he was over there. And when he came back, it was like, how can I make this happen at home on the same level? So he opened Sonny's there 6 years ago. And that was when he imported the pressure fryer, which was $22,000 from Ohio. So a fair investment. And I think he told me they're quite hard to buy here. It's not like you just go to the local appliance wholesaler or hospitality warehouse and go, I want a pressure fryer. You actually have to kind of go and seek it out.
Did he, through traveling to the US, he came back and thought, there's no way I can achieve what I want to without that appliance?
Correct. The impression he gave me was that it's just the standard over there. If you're going to open a fried chicken place, you need a pressure fryer. The same way that if you want to open a cafe here, you need an espresso machine. There's kind of no thought or discussion. It's just like, that's the bit of kit that I need.
So what are people using here generally? They're just chucking the chicken in a regular fryer?
In a deep fryer, yeah.
Okay. How does a pressure fryer work? Do you know the ins and outs of this thing, or that's best left to the experts?
Look, I've tried to understand the science. I went so far as to look at the patent of how these things work. My understanding is that it's just that it traps everything in there. So in addition to frying it, it's actually steaming and all the juices are in there and they're kind of trapped. They can't escape or bubble out. And so you get this chicken that's really juicy and cooked the whole way through. And yeah, it just makes it a lot moister than a deep fryer would.
It's cooked for precisely 13 minutes. That's what you said in your story. So they've obviously finessed it and found the recipe they need, how long to brine it for, and then the exact time they need to cook it.
Yeah. And the chef, Craig, he has been there for 6 years. I think he told me he started 6 months after it opened. So he's basically been there since the beginning and everything is so dialed in now. And it's like when you're cooking something like this every single day, he wouldn't even need to check the timer. He can probably just tell by the smell or the sound or any of these things whether it's done, you know?
I'm assuming it's a mix of brown and white chicken.
Yeah. They get the chickens in. They're partially jointed. So they get the barrel, which is basically the chicken with all the limbs removed, and they get Marylands. And then they cut those in half to create nice big pieces that aren't, it's not like you get a drumstick, which is small, and then a breast, which is bigger. All the pieces are kind of the same size, but they all have, white and dark meat.
I have a real issue with fried chicken joints that just do a tenderloin. I can't cope. And I would so much rather sit there for 20 minutes. And it takes time to do good fried chicken. But I would rather sit there and wait and get a breast or a thigh. That's just me.
I get worried when it comes out too quickly. I'm like, oh, what are they doing back there? I want to wait.
Now, you couldn't stop thinking about this chicken, but part of it was wrapped up in the sauce. Tell us about the sauce that you had it with. And as I'm aware, there's a few different great sauces you can get there that are house-made, but there was one that you've been fixating on together with the chicken.
I should clarify for readers, I like hot sauce, but I'm not one of those people that needs to have it on every single meal and put it in spaghetti bolognese and make sure that everything blows my head off. But I do like chili. So I'm kind of, I enjoy hot sauce. This one has habanero and cayenne peppers. And a really notable feature of habanero is that they're really floral. I went through a period of growing them and making my own sauce with them. And once you get to know that taste, it's really distinctive. It's kind of like, if you have wine, you have Pinot versus Shiraz, you get to know those flavors. And I just think habanero is such a beautiful chili. It's not used a lot because it is super, super hot. This one, I think they've used a touch of that, and then they've got the cayenne, which makes up the bulk of it. And so it's got this really extended kind of beautiful floral burn. It's really good.
So you were dipping the chicken into the sauce. That was how you were enjoying it. Yeah. So Sonny's Fried Chicken and Burgers is inside the Curtin Hotel at 21 Lygon Street in Carlton. There is another Sonny's at the Gem Pub, but they don't have that pressure cooker.
Don't let that put you off. So they do a lot more burgers. They're a lot more geared towards that, but it's very delicious as well.
But if you want the chicken that Nick's just talked about and made me think I need to go immediately tonight, probably sooner.
What are you doing for lunch?
That might be it. It's on the way to work. That's all we've got time for today. As always, you can stay up to date at any time at broadsheet.com.au or on Instagram at broadsheet_Melb. See you again next week.